pattern. Don't go in. Don't go in, Jenny. Good shot, Tom. Really nice.
Can we edit in a hole-in-one?
All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Part 2 of the family fitting series. We've just had Jenny on the channel. She's made her family proud all the way from Massachusetts. And if you haven't seen it, go watch it. We done a wedge fit with Jenny and she finished the wedge fit in the best possible way with a hole out. I think the first one we've had during these fitting series.
Come for a fitting, you hole out.
That's it. It's absolute perfection guaranteed. So, unenviable task, Tom.
I know, I got my work cut out for me.
I know. But anyway, we'll endeavour to see if we can get you firing on all cylinders as well. When we talked in the intro to Jenny's video, we spoke to both of you about what you would like to ultimately be fit for. You said you're having some issues maybe with distance, sort of consistency on the irons.
Yes, I have to pick a pretty wide range when I'm hitting into a green because sometimes they go a good 10, 15 yards further or shorter. I'm not 100% confident all the time. So.
We'll take a look at that for sure. You've got some nice irons that are fairly new, Ping G430s. You were fitted for them. They've been adjusted for length, certainly. Done the spec checks. They're an inch over length, so they're 38.5 on the length, 62 in the lie, so standard and exact standard on the loft. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's causing it. Is it a strike thing? Normally fluctuations of spin, Tom, are where we see these fluctuations in carry distance. So a bit of a drop in spin goes that much further. You get a good amount of spin, it drops and stops, and there can be too wide of a gap. So
I never have. When I do hit the green, it stops.
It does stop.
It does stop.
Yeah, you were saying you've got quite a high ball flight.
And I tend to hit it high. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's take a look. Let's see what we've got going on. You were saying you're about an 8 handicap right now, in and around there.
Yeah. 8.1.
8.1.
In climbing.
Good strike.
A little early evidence of what we talked about there, though. Just here, slightly early contact, upward angle of attack.
Yeah.
Right, get that little drop kick going. Good, really nice. Bit more ball speed on that one. You like to see a bit of a draw?
Yes.
Good. So, I mean, a little bit of what you're talking about is starting to emerge, early on here.
Lots
so
of fluctuation.
Yeah.
Speed difference.
Yeah, that's the big one right now is ball speed. Excellent. Strong.
That's a good strike.
Very strong. Great. I mean, that's a fantastic look at an ideal one, really, as we see what your club head speed. Yeah, you've kind of leveled out around 79, give us one more just to close the set off. I like 5 kind of good shots in the selection. Love it.
Nice strike.
Very good.
As the strikes got better, you can see that height definitely wants to get up there 100 feet.
It has. Like everybody wants when they go and see the doctor, they want their symptoms to still be there. They don't want to turn up and all of a sudden, what you came in there for has disappeared. Everything that you talked about is absolutely there. So the biggest fluctuation is in ball speed. That's where your carry distance is fluctuating. So as much as 162, as little as 144. In height, the lowest peak is 75. The highest peak is 20 feet higher than that. Big difference in the descent angle as well. So it all stems, Tom, from having an upward angle attack. So basically the arc or the sort of journey of the low point of your golf club, the low point happens prior to impact.
All right.
So the old school definition of compression used to be, a downward angle attack, compress the ball, have that really, take a nice strong divot. That's not your game. Your game is better when you've got a little bit of maybe a first cut rough, when the ball's just rolled into the first cut, sitting up a little bit. That probably lie is better for you. Yeah. Don't love the time.
And I'm the exact opposite of Jenny. I love my wedges.
Yeah, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can see that. The other fluctuation, which is interesting, is in loft. This golf club has 26.5 degrees of loft on it. On average, you're delivering 29. So not only is the angle of attack slightly upward. So as the club is went down, it's reached low points, actually on its way back up again as it hits the ball. We actually have the shaft leaning slightly back, adding more loft. So in terms of what part of the club we're actually using the back of the sole, and that's what part of the club is literally bouncing off the ground. We done a video a couple of weeks ago, Tom, on the channel, where we talked about forgiveness and really forgiving golf clubs, and a G430 is designed as a golf club with forgiveness. Doesn't actually offer you that much forgiveness for certain swing types. You're that swing type.
Okay.
Like, I'm literally thinking about that video going, I wish we had Tom to come and do that day, because you know, it'd be better doing it with you than it was with me, because it's a real case with you. So width, it's very important to you. Wider the sole, the harder it is to sort of get good contact. And that's what I think we just saw there. Okay, so a couple of different options. We can talk through some of the things that can get you in a stronger impact position, or we can look at some things with slightly thinner sole. Whichever way, I'm fine with, up to you.
It's pretty much the same thing. I took a couple lessons over the winter.
Yeah.
And it went from, what's my angle of attack right now?
It's 2 degrees up.
Yeah, they were closer to that 3.5
Yeah.
and more
Right.
In January.
So let's look at that, right? Because I think we can kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We can get the height down a little bit, so you know you've got a more neutral ball flight that is great in, you know, calm conditions, great in the wind, great in, you know, all sorts of conditions. And also we can get more consistency on that ball speed and spin that regulate how far your ball's going. So why don't we address maybe you first and some things that we can pick up on, and if we still see that we can't get it, we'll maybe look at some clubs with a thinner sole profile. Okay. I'll come round and look at you from the front. Sounded just a hair thin, but it was the best combination yet for, it was the least up, so 0.9 up and 25 degrees of dynamic loft. So we had forward shaft lean that time, which is excellent. So hit me a shot. Imagine, you know, we're playing into the kind of teeth of a bit of a wind. You made the trip over to Ireland, Scotland, and you've got to play a kind of punch shot. Okay, so you're going to stack the weight a little bit more on your lead leg, on the left leg. Really punch this down for me. Good. You said earlier when we were talking about sort of what's your iron game like, and you said, I don't really miss it left and right. I just miss it front and back. Yeah. That's exactly it. I mean, look how neutral that delivery is. You know, path is 0, face is, you know, a degree or so either side is 0. If we can get you sort of up the face in terms of strike, not living low in the head as much as you are, and get that strike down, I think you'll have a pretty strong iron game. That's better. So the more we move towards 0 or towards a downward angle attack, the more the strike is moving up the face. The loft is now in a much, much better spot. When I first saw you had, or when you first mentioned you had longer clubs, I kind of guessed we'd be talking probably a ½ inch. I was surprised when I measured it and it was 1 inch. Okay. I'm not sure if you need a full inch. I think that might be, you know, turning a 6 iron into 4 in terms of length. I mean, you're tall, but not super tall. Okay, Tom. First one we're going to try, a little bit shorter club. We talked about maybe going down to just a ½ inch over length from being a full inch over, a little bit of a narrower sole, and actually a different profile of head. Your G430 is actually designed for the head to flex, and they call it dive board effective ping, and actually go higher. This one is actually designed for the opposite. Okay. So with speed pocket, the TaylorMade head is designed to let the lower part of the head relax and actually allows a little bit more de-lofting contribution for extra ball speed and a slightly flatter flight. So let's see if that helps a little bit with your strike bead low in the head.
Better.
Don't go in. Don't go in, Jenny. Good shot, Tom. Really nice.
Can we edit in a hole-in-one?
Told you we were open to bribes, Tom. Anything's possible. So if we look in initially, some of the change we're making. A little bit of a toe strike there, but I like to see dynamic loft having come down quite a lot. And I like to see your dynamic lie has neutralized quite a little bit as well. 0 on the angle of attack too. So lots of things moving in the right direction that allow us to get more sort of ball speed and a little bit more energy into the golf ball here. That was really nice.
No pulley, but a nice flight.
I don't mind that. I think as this dynamic lie angle gets a little bit better.
This head feels heavier. I can feel it. I can feel where it is more in my swing.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So what happens when we lighten the shaft? So the head weight always stays about the same. So 6 irons are generally about 258 grams, call it, 260 grams. But if we give you right, to exaggerate, a 40-gram shaft and a 100-gram shaft, that distributes the weight very differently across the whole length of the club. You become much more aware of the 260 grams with the 40-gram shaft. So this is a little bit lighter shaft, which is what gives you more awareness of the head. That, for most people, works well. Okay, I really liked what we saw with the TaylorMade. We just had a bit of the left sides going with it, didn't we? It was turning over, the spin dropped down too much, and it was too easy to curve it. Mizuno 245. A little bit more of a kind of somewhere between, to be honest, these two heads. Good looking flight. What have you felt from the first 3 strikes of this one, Tom?
Like I said in the other one, I could close my eyes and feel where it was all the time.
Yeah.
This one, not as much.
Not as much.
I don't know why.
Interesting. So trying to kind of like, I said to Mikey there, a little bit offline, I thought the face obviously was getting more closed than we wanted with the TaylorMade, and the dynamic loft came down. I wanted that to go back up a little bit, not as much as yours. We kind of got that. I don't want to make it easy for the ball to go left here. Right. That's important, right? So we obviously, you know, strength of your game has been you don't really miss it either side. I don't want to kind of introduce that to the game with sort of one of these new heads. So give me 2 more and then I'll probably introduce a different shaft. Good. Like that. That was really nice, Tom.
That's a nice strike.
Love that.
Really
felt
good. Do it.
Oh.
What is this? The whole out family? What's going on? Something in the water in Boston. I mean, that punch shot again when you strike down on it. It definitely looks like there's been a difference going into the bigger grip and back to a little bit flatter again. We're not missing it nearly as much to the left.
All right.
Okay. I don't know if we weren't really trying to hit it higher, but certainly there's height there as a consequence of the face being a little more open. The miss was on the left side with the G430, and you know, obviously if we add in the P790 was even
Way
more.
left, yeah.
So attack angle is kind of where it's been, a degree and a bit up. It's definitely better than it was when it was 3. Tom, you were saying you've been taking some lessons, and that was something you guys were addressing in the lessons. So you're on the right direction with that. We moved the lie angle actually back to being a little bit flatter again. And as a result, you're much, much straighter than it was before. If I take that P790 out,
Up the right side.
Yeah.
Tighter dispersion.
That's more of what we want. And we can obviously, if you want to play, the loft down a little bit, when we can actually weaken the lofts on the 6 iron and the Mizuno, so we could strengthen that again and bring that down. But I think we want to try and get, I don't want to take spin away from you. That's the biggie, because I don't want you to become inconsistent with your distances again. You know, we're looking at much tighter standard deviation on spin and carry, which is really, really nice. And that's what's going to be obviously helpful when it comes to selecting the right club and not, you know, blowing one over the back out of nowhere.
Build the confidence.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, we want to try one more shaft in that Mizuno head, Tom. You mentioned earlier you like the feel of something where you could feel the head more, so we want to kind of maybe give you something that gives you that. All right, Tom, a little bit lighter shaft, Mizuno MMT.
Little draws back.
Center strike.
A little bit steeper on it too.
Yeah, that was nice. That was a bit quicker on ball speed. That was a nice little lift.
That's nice.
More spin as well. Sound.
So good.
It feels awesome.
160 on the fly.
Better with that shaft in it, Tom, and feel more comfortable.
Everything feels better. Strike feels better.
Spin's almost at 5,000. It's nice.
Okay, Tom. Little adjustment to the loft, bring it down a little bit, see if we can flatten out that flight.
I was roasted. Jeez, oh.
Set those two. I actually think that's the one that we need to spin for, because that'll drop too much. That was a nice miss though. I was expecting that to come up quite a bit shorter than that. It actually done really well for you. Your ball speed with this combination has went up quite a lot. If we take the O-band shaft out, picked up 7 miles an hour, really kind of kept the launch conditions intact. What feels like it's given you sort of the allowance to, because it's speed, it's ultimately your club head speeds went up quite a lot. Is it the weight? Does it feel a better weight?
It feels a better weight, and I feel like I can really go at it once I get to about here.
Yeah. Good. Love that.
I don't know why, but that's what it feels like.
Okay, I'm going to borrow that one more time. Lie angle back flatter. Which grip did you prefer, this one or the one on the previous club?
The other one actually felt bigger. This one doesn't feel that much bigger.
Which is probably not a bad feel for you, because as you know, easier to transition to bigger by going here, then that probably feels maybe a bit too far. So as we kind of make final adjustments, Tom, we're seeing what can we get away with and what can we not.
Okay.
It seems like we cannot get away with an upright lie angle. Every time I want to get you more in an upright lie angle, because I think the grip has taken a bit of rotation at the face, we see the left come back. So I've just flattened it back out. Hopefully it keeps us more to the right. Not the best strike, but we'll take it.
No. That's my miss when I'm trying to hit it 165 yards.
That's the heavy one, you get away with it.
Okay, Tom. I think we had something good going with the last one, but we saw it still had a bit of that left tendency, so we're working hard on fixing that.
So back to full inch over.
Full inch over, bigger grip.
Acra IS8.
IS8 now. Yeah, back to standard and lie.
That's a lovely strike.
Downward, Tom. 0.2 downward and angle attack. That might be more impressive than Jenny's hole-in-one.
I think it is.
I think so.
I think so.
Okay, so I think I love the combination of what we have with this one. I want to just circle back to your 6 iron again. Just want to see what now. If your angle attack's slightly more down, are you good with this one too? Back to the smaller grip. How does that feel going back to the standard size? Odd?
It felt really weird when I went to the big one. Now it feels really weird going back.
That feel pretty good on the strike there.
It felt great on the strike.
Yeah.
Down.
It was a little heavy, but I think we'll get away with it.
You're doing the old Gary Player drill there of hitting it and then literally walking through the shot. You're ending up literally walking towards the target. That's helping you feel like you can get the weight into your left side, get that angle of attack down. The last two have been 85 and 83 on the peak height. One of the little cheats that I can love people to be aware of when they're hitting a 6-iron, I love the peak height and the club head speed to be about the same.
Okay.
So if I see your club head speed at 83, but your ball, your apex at 101 feet, I know there's too much dynamic loft. So if you're matching those two up, everything in your delivery is just about right. Your ball flight's stronger.
Yeah, it sounded good.
You're carrying it another 7 or 8 yards from what you were initially earlier on.
That angle of attack changes so much.
What do you feel like when you go back to the steel shaft with the distribution of weight? Does it feel like it's more even now? You feel less the head?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So if you were, I mean, in the bay and we were doing a fitting together, I would be encouraging you at the minute to go to some bigger grips.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't change your clubs right now. I think actually I'd like you to explore this angle of attack a little bit more. I think you're getting more out of your clubs. My only one concern is this: if this session goes on, is I see your dynamic lie angle go more and more toe down as the session goes. Now that's 6 degrees down. I didn't see you do that once with the other one.
Okay.
So again, just we're moving some things with your angle of attack and ball position back. I mean, dynamic loft at 22 with a slightly open face. You'd never have thought that at the start of the session when we were delivering 29. So that's a massive, massive difference in the right direction. You know,
and the ball speeds.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
way higher. So you're going to get way more energy, 170 carry, and that's giving a little bit of ball speed away to the open face. Probably good for 172, 173 on a straight shot, which is a really strong 6-iron. Okay, really is.
All right. Okay. I've always been the shortest guy in the group, so
not anymore. Not anymore. Okay, Tom. So a little summary for you. As it shakes out, your club head speed basically came out net, even with yours and the Mizuno with the Acra IS8. If we look at the ball data, now that we've got a little bit more of a downward angle attack, certainly more even with yours, but slightly more down with the Mizuno, that launch angle is now under 20 and the spin is kind of in the mid-4s with both. Love to see that. But when it comes down to it, even though the standard deviation on carry is a little better with the Acra and the Mizuno, I would like to see you play with yours a little bit longer, just to see how these changes bed in, knowing that you have a great sort of alternative if you feel like you still struggle with the distance control. Now, I think sole width is a big part, but it's only a big part because of the backward shaft lean, adding dynamic loft, and not quite enough downward and angle of attack. Both of those things you've actually done a nice job getting. It was 29 when we started, it's 26 and a half now. We saw some ones at the end there that were 24, 22. It's trending in the right direction. You've got a nice little drill there where you sort of position your club, you put a little tee or a something to hit 6 inches ahead of the golf ball, and your focus is to have the club low enough at that point to strike it. That seemed like it kind of helped with your dynamic loft a lot.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
That's great.
We've got something to work on.
All right.
That I think will help you bring that height down.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Worth the trip. Now, should I change the grips
Yes.
on everything?
Yeah.
All the way up to driver?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah. I would. I think it's again without knowing what you need in the woods, it's needed in the irons for sure. It was definitely meaningful. So, grip choice is like a taste test. There's lots of mid-size out there. There's lots of whiskies out there. but there's going to be one that you like more than me and more than Mike. So you're going to have to sample a few and just go, okay, that texture feels really good. Good control, that one. Nah, that's not me. That's a bit slippy. That's your personal preference, but we'll definitely guide you towards a mid-sized grip, and making sure that you sort of get down into the thick of the grip and not hanging over the end of it. That's an old habit that probably started when you were using clubs that weren't quite as long as the ones you're using today. So good stuff.
All right.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, well, it was a pleasure having Tom and Jenny with us in the studio.
Affair.
It absolutely was. Quite good to see. I mean, we've changed little bits with Tom, little bits with Jenny as well with her lob wedge, but we've kept some stuff as well.
Yeah. I think
stuff.
that calling Tom's more of that retrofit. You worked a little bit on his, dynamics in game, which I think are a benefit that he doesn't have to change his clubs right out of the gates. But I mean, grip size is so important, and you can see how much of a difference it made. So, although it didn't end up with a brand new set of bats, it's still a pretty good fitting.
Definitely. I think while there's swing changes happening, that's why as fitters we are sort of a little less likely to hang our hat. There's some things in there I would still say are meaningful. Dynamic lie angle being 2.5 down versus 4.5 down.
Yeah.
They are the same lie. They're both 62. So, with the amount of toe weight is on that G430, it wants to do that more than it does. So when you're as shallow as Tom is with the angle of attack there, like we always say, we don't like it being more than 3 degrees toe down, because that's when it grabs a little bit. So again, if we were saying that Tom was striking it really how he wanted to and the angle of attack was good, I would have been a bit more probably, not forceful, but I would have been a bit more sort of sure to say to Tom, yeah, these clubs are making a big difference. But let's see how the changes happen first.
Good point.
They work their way out. Okay. Guys, and I hope you enjoyed that. Again, 2 totally different golfers for hopefully you guys to identify with. Hopefully it resonates with someone out there that you see tendencies. It's in the Walsh family, the DNA of that shallow angle attack.
Yeah, no kidding.
Do you know it's just because they're nice people and they don't like taking divots, Tom? That's what it is, isn't it?
I was going to say, I don't want to have to do the maintenance.
Is there a course superintendent in the family somewhere that you didn't want to upset him by taking big, nasty divots?
No, the other one works at a course, and I don't want to get yelled at.
That's exactly what it is. I knew you were nice folks as soon as we met you. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this series. We certainly did. Stay tuned for more, and we'll see you again soon.